I eat deviled eggs like I eat chips. I can't stop. They are so delicious and always perfect at every single get together. Believe it or not, and it is kind of crazy, deviled eggs were created in ancient Rome. They would boil a bunch of eggs and then they would put a bunch of delicious sauces all over the top of them, which has inspired me today because what I want to do is make deviled eggs 4 different ways. All of them are super delicious, some classic, some kind of far-fetched, but you will love them. We've got a little bit of prep to do to start this off. Sound good? Let's cook. Obviously, this recipe starts with hard-boiled eggs. I've got an absolutely fantastic recipe so that they're perfectly hard-boiled every single time. Do that recipe in full, even the chilling down part. Once they are cool, here's what we need to do. We are going to slice each of these hard-boiled eggs right in half. I'm going to be using a paring knife. Sometimes a big chef knife is a little thick. It can get a little sloppy. It can break the egg white. So a thinner, smaller paring knife like this is perfect. Then once they are all sliced, we're just going to add the yolks to a bowl. We're going to place the whites on our serving platter, whatever serving plate you feel like using. Then using a fork, mash down the egg yolks. What you're looking to do is get a small crumble just like this. Now, if you're overly anal about having no chunks at all in your deviled egg filling, you can absolutely use a microplane and finely grate it down just like this. This is what it will look like. So once you're done mashing all the yolks up, we are going to add in some mayonnaise. I've got a fantastic homemade recipe for that you will love and will be perfect in this recipe. Next, I have some Dijon mustard. And to keep with the mustards, I'm also going to add some yellow mustard. I love the combination of flavors here. Really, really tasty. And then I'm going to hit it with a little bit of distilled white vinegar. Next, I have a dash of some hot sauce. We, of course, want to season it up very well with salt and fresh cracked black pepper. And then using a spoon or a fork or even a rubber spatula, just mix together every single thing. And just to prove to you, you don't need to use a spoon. You can also use a whisk, which actually I prefer. This will help break it up even more and break down those big chunks of egg yolks, should there be any left. Once it is whisked, what I want to do is transfer it to a piping bag. I'm going to be using a small round tip in this bag. You could just spoon it right in there as well. Also, really quickly, if you have an egg white that's sort of crooked and standing up to the side, what you can do is tilt it on the side and trim it down to sort of flatten it out. Use the paring knife so that it balances nice and flat like you see there. Okay, back to stuffing these up. So they are in a piping bag, and what I'm going to do is just pipe them right into the egg white halves. Again, if you don't have a piping bag or tips, you can absolutely use a plastic bag, like a zip bag, and just cut off the corner of it, or you can just spoon it in there. Now for garnish, I'm going to sprinkle on some paprika, followed up by adding in a little sprig of fresh dill. You could use chopped dill too, that's fine. These are fantastic, absolutely perfect. Now let's move over to the next version, which is a southern style deviled egg with relish. The same exact process, just cut the eggs in half, add the yolks to a large bowl. Once they are all in there, I'm going to use the whisk this time just to break them up. You can use a fork, whisk, whatever you got, and a microplane, all totally fine. You're just looking to get that small crumble like this. And for the ingredients, I'm going to add in some mayonnaise. Of course, I have a great recipe for that. I already told you in the last version. And just some yellow mustard this time. We're just going with one. And then what you want to do to add in next, and it's very classic, is some relish. A great alternative would be some finely minced bread and butter pickles. I have a fantastic recipe for that. Seriously, it will absolutely change the game of this recipe if you use the homemade version. Then next, of course, we want to hit it with a few dashes of hot sauce. We're next going to season it up with some salt and some fresh cracked black pepper. Then using the whisk, of course, mix everything together until it is completely combined. It will be a little chunky, obviously, because the relish is in there.
And then again, I'm going to transfer this one to a piping bag. I got a nice big star tip on there to make sure all of those chunky ingredients can get through. Then just squeeze it and lift up. And then for the garnish for this one, just some paprika. Then I'm going to add on a little bit more of the finely minced bread and butter pickles. And then last but not least, some finely minced fresh dill. And these ones right now so far have been my absolute favorite.
Okay, 2 deviled eggs down, 2 more to go. But for this next one, I'm just going to take a quick detour because what I want to do is cut this egg a little bit differently. It's going to go from a half to kind of a 3/4, sort of like a big boy deviled egg. And it is dang good.
Okay, just to make sure these stand upright, I'm just going to slice off the bottom part, the bigger end. See how it stands out there? Perfect. Then what you want to do is lay it on the side and slice up about 3/4 of the egg. You do need to do a little bit of fabrication, sort of round out the top using your paring knife to expose the yolk a little bit more so that it comes out with ease. You definitely will need to do this, or else it's going to be really hard to get the yolk out of there and you'll split the egg white. Now to transfer this over, you can use a paring knife, or I found that a measuring teaspoon works perfect to get it out of there. This time we're doing it in a food processor, much easier, and it will be perfectly smooth. We are going to add in some mayonnaise. And then, of course, the next thing we want to add in there is some yellow mustard. You could use Dijon. I just like the yellow mustard. It's a little bit more classical. And then hit it with some hot sauce. I like Tabasco sauce. If you have another favorite hot sauce, totally fine. We're going to sprinkle in some salt. We're going to sprinkle in some pepper. Add the lid to the food processor. And then I pulse it on high, probably 25 to 30 times. If you have to scrape down the sides, totally fine. This looks excellent. Very, very smooth and perfect. Now to change this one up, we are going to add in, oh, this is so good, some freshly chopped, crisp cooked bacon. This is going to take it to a completely new level. No joke. Then using a rubber spatula or a spoon, whatever you have, mix it in. And of course, adjust any seasonings with salt and pepper at this stage as well. You can spoon it right into those eggs, or again, I'm using that large star tip in a piping bag, and stuff these things completely full. These are fantastic. These are my new favorite ones. And now sprinkle on some more chopped crisp cooked bacon. Then for a little change up, I'm going to add on some thinly sliced fresh chives. These, oh my gosh, you guys, so dang good. So last but not least, we are going to do the avocado egg. We're going back to the original size and shape. So just slice those eggs in half. We're going to add the yolks right over to the food processor. I like this procedure. It's just easier, and I like how smooth they turn out. And now what we need to do is get this avocado out of here. So the way that I do that is I slice it in half long ways right around that hard inner core seed. See, this is perfect. Now to get rid of that, I like to put it on a towel just to be safe, and then gently push down with a knife, give it a little chop, and then twist it, pull it right out there. Excellent. And then to remove all of the avocado from that outside shell, just grab a large spoon and really just carve it out. That's all you need to do. Once it is out of that shell, we're going to transfer it over to that food processor and a few more ingredients to add. I'm going to add a little sour cream for a little bit of more fat and more flavor. That is totally optional. I like it, but again, you don't have to use it. And then a little bit of lemon juice. This is going to help add some acid and help make sure the avocado filling stays nice and green and doesn't mute out in color. And for a little special secret ingredient, some ground up cumin. And then again, of course, we always want to season up everything with some salt, then fresh cracked black pepper. Now go ahead and add the top to the food processor. We're going to process probably 30 to 40 times. Going to take a little bit more to make sure that avocado is finely minced up and smooth. Scrape the sides if you need to using a rubber spatula. Once it is smooth, what we're going to do now is remove the blade out of the center. Just knock off any excess goodness. We're next going to hit it with some finely minced red onion, some finely minced fresh cilantro. Next, mix everything together with a rubber spatula, and then taste it. See if it needs more seasoning. Like I always say, season once, taste twice. Now, again, going over to a piping bag with a large star tip, or you could spoon it right in there. Just pipe each little half full. Got that nice, beautiful green color. Gonna garnish with a bit more fresh chopped cilantro. Then for a little kick, a thinly sliced jalapeno. Oh my goodness, how could I possibly choose between these four? Every single one are so delicious.
And this is probably why I like deviled eggs so much. They're just so customizable. It doesn't even have to stop at these four. Think about the different things you could add in. Truffle oil, aioli instead of mayonnaise, different cheeses, tomatoes, roasted peppers, herbs. Have a field day. But while you're doing it, put all of those fundamental techniques into practice. Piping them in there, making sure the hard-boiled egg is cooked perfectly, all of them. Because this homemade recipe from scratch is dang good and way better than anything you're going to get from the store, my friends. That is my promise to you. Well, we're not going to plate anything else up because you've seen it all, but we are going to show you these beauties in slow-mo. There's really nothing else to say other than make them. They're super delicious. If you learned something and love this video, be sure to like and share it. And definitely check out this video right here. I made it for you. I promise you, you'll love it. See you on there.